Good evening. I'm John Dickerson.
I'm Maurice Dubois.
Exactly 6 months ago, we started this broadcast at the scene of the nation's deadliest plane crash since November of 2001.
Today, the National Transportation Safety Board began a 3-day investigative hearing looking into what led an Army Black Hawk helicopter to collide in midair with an American Eagle jet near Reagan National Airport. There were no survivors.
Family members watched and listened to testimony about a crucial but glitchy gauge aboard the Army helicopter and broken communication with air traffic controllers.
Our senior transportation correspondent, Kris Van Cleave, has been covering the crash since it happened, and he leads us off tonight. Kris, what have we learned?
Every day since that crash, the NTSB has been going through wreckage and data, trying to figure out why this accident happened. For the families of the 67 lives lost, today was a difficult day, in part because the NTSB released new video, and it is our clearest view yet of this tragedy. Looking out from the edge of a runway at Washington Reagan National Airport, you can see American Airlines Flight 5342 on approach to land, when the Army Black Hawk helicopter appears to the left on a collision course. The crash killed 67 people.
We went from a family of 4 to a family of 2, kind of in a blink of an eye.
Doug Lane's wife and 16-year-old son were on the plane coming back from a skating competition in Wichita.
When we had an opportunity to go to the crash site in January, strikes you is just how close they were to being on the ground.
We are working diligently to make sure we know what occurred.
The National Transportation Safety Board is now in the midst of a 3-day investigative hearing in Washington focused on answering investigators' lingering questions. At the time of the crash, the helicopter should have been flying below 200 feet, but it was at least 70 feet higher. Investigators are focused on potentially inaccurate altitude readings from the Black Hawk that in testing were found to be off by as much as 130 feet. NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy. If the helicopter was telling them with plus or minus 100 feet their altitude, how significant is 100 feet in this case?
It's significant in this case. Helicopter Route 4, which went along the Potomac, in that area, we calculated that the margin of error was 75 feet. So a 100-foot difference is significant.
The chopper pilots were wearing night vision goggles. The NTSB released this image of how air traffic in the area may have appeared in their limited field of vision. Newly released transcripts from the airplane's cockpit voice recorder show the pilots received an automated verbal warning about traffic in the vicinity approximately 20 seconds before the collision. Less than 2 seconds before impact, the pilots shouted out in alarm. Flight data indicates they then attempted to climb aggressively to avoid the helicopter.
I know that my son saw that helicopter 1 second before impact, and they tried very hard to avoid it.
Tim Lilly's son Sam was the airliner's co-pilot.
Sam was a good pilot, and he would have been trying to fly that aircraft all the way to the bottom.
Black box data from the helicopter indicates those pilots never saw the airliner they were about to fly right into.
Kris, I keep coming back to the altimeter being off by 130 feet. That's hard to get your head around. Is that the norm? I mean, why are they not more accurate?
Well, there are acceptable deviances, but the NTSB found in their testing that this was performing outside of even the acceptable margin of error. The problem here is that even with a margin of error, your clearance was 75 feet. That's just not enough to safely operate in airspace.
Kris, is the emerging picture that there is a single point of failure, or that this might be a bunch of stuff piled together?
This is shaping up to be a series of events, some of them long-standing policies that came together to allow this disaster to happen.
Kris Van Cleave in Washington for us. Thank you very much, Kris.